Hello and welcome to That's Football. Here we are then, Monday morning. The latest football news for you is the top four race now done and dusted. Manchester United, Manchester City have won the league anyway. Spurs and Liverpool definitely the big winners this weekend. We've got to include Man City in there because they have won the League Cup. That suddenly actually means something, despite when United won it last year, it's just a tin pot cup. But in fairness to Man City, that's two down really. Premier League done. Can they win the Champions League as well? We'll be talking that in a moment. But the gap, when we look at the gap in the top four race now, it effectively does come down to how far away are the team in fifth from fourth. Well, Chelsea at the moment are only 2 points behind Spurs. They're 4 points behind Liverpool and they're now 6 points behind Manchester United. Can Arsenal be considered part of that race for the top four? Not unless you're feeling a bit lightheaded today. They have 45 points, even if they beat City on Thursday, which is highly unlikely. That would put them up to 48 and put them 7 points off fourth place. So I don't think Arsenal can do it. And the big reason I don't think Arsenal can do it is because I think Arsenal are not good enough this season. They're not in that race for the top four. Chelsea yesterday, obviously I watched everybody this weekend. Liverpool blew West Ham away. We predicted that, didn't we, on the Premier League preview show. Fantastic attacking performance again with Salah and Firmino and everybody else who plays in that. Mane, that's it, 3. I should have just listed them all. Very, very good. But I've got to be honest, I watched the Chelsea game yesterday and I thought Willian is probably the in-form player in the Premier League at the moment. Probably not the most glamorous player, but brilliant against Barcelona, superb against Manchester United yesterday, and as good as Salah's been, and I would give Salah Player of the Year over De Bruyne, I think Willian is the form player at the moment. If Chelsea can keep him in form, then they've got a very good chance. I think Chelsea are a better team than Liverpool. Now, I know that's controversial, but I do think Chelsea are a better team than Liverpool. I just think that at the moment they're struggling with a lack of confidence. They've got a better goalkeeper, they've got a better back five. Their midfield is where they struggle, I think, with the Drinkwater or the Bakayoko. But Kante's good. Hazard, Willian, and again a little bit with the striker. And I think goals win points, don't they? And that's what Liverpool are doing at the moment. They've got that ability that even though they conceded against West Ham, which they never should have done, they go and score 4 goals and that wins your games. But Chelsea, they're still a bit of a threat. Spurs, fantastic against Crystal Palace yesterday. For anybody who watched it, I thought Palace put up a really good fight against Spurs. But for the away team, yet again, Spurs just keep on impressing me. In the final third, or certainly in the opposition's half, just keep going, creating chances. Goalkeeper for Palace was brilliant. Their back four was very good as well. And eventually Harry Kane's there to get them the win late on that they thoroughly did deserve. It would have been good for teams like Chelsea, United and Liverpool if they had dropped 2 points, but they thoroughly deserved it. And as great as they were against Juventus and as great as they've been against United and Liverpool and Arsenal recently, Spurs, very, very dangerous. And based on just a blip November, they do deserve top four. They do deserve top four. The best footballing teams in the league this season have been Manchester City, Liverpool and Spurs. And those three, you know, they're doing it in the Champions League as well. They do deserve top four, but you don't always get what you deserve. Look at United yesterday. They did deserve to win, by the way, but are they playing the best football in the league? Of course they're not. United fans know that. But are they second in the league? Have they been consistently second in the league since August? Yes. Would you bet against them? I don't think so. So I do feel that, personally, I do think the top four's done and dusted. I think Liverpool, Spurs deserve it and will get it. I think United, that was a massive win against Chelsea yesterday. And Man City are obviously going to finish top. So it's all about whether Chelsea can come back. And you feel that Conte's on the edge of being dropped anyway. And they've got a massive game, which we'll be talking about later in the week, against Man City on Sunday at the Etihad. So I think Chelsea lose that. Liverpool, Spurs and United pick up more points. And then it becomes impossible for Chelsea. It really does. James Alori says, maybe if Spurs go far in the Champions League, it might ruin their league form. I mean, that is something that Chelsea will be clinging on to, actually. Very good point, that if they get knocked out by Barcelona, which they should, it allows them to focus more on the Premier League, whereas Spurs will be focused on the Champions League. But I just think, as Pratic says, Spurs are a very, very good side. And they do deserve top four football. I've been very impressed with them this season. Let's talk about Man City for a moment. Arsenal fans in a bit of a meltdown. having lost the League Cup final yesterday very badly. I saw the first goal. I've got to say, I thought that was a foul on Mustafi by Aguero. He basically barges into him. That's a foul. I don't know how in the modern game that's not given. But they still went on and won it very, very comfortably. And I don't think anybody outside of Arsenal fans expected any different result. I take on board what Matthew McFadden said on Twitter earlier, that I think it was the manner of Arsenal's defeat. But this is the manner of the Arsenal side. I think Arsenal fans are going through this thing that they've been going through for a long time, that they think they're a big club still, and in status they're a big club, but the players they've got, I mean, they've just got a very, very poor side, and I think they're probably, if I was a betting person in relation to Arsenal, I'd say at the moment I'd probably bet more on them finishing 10th next season than I would finishing 4th. I think they're actually on the regression. They need. The Wenger out thing is almost like academic, isn't it? Because it's not going to happen until he wants to go. But their performances of late are really poor. But Man City, they get the League Cup done. The Premier League is done and dusted, as many people well know. If they're going to win the Tin Pot treble, then can they win the Champions League? Well, you know, the traditional treble that matters is the FA Cup, the Premier League and the Champions League. And the League Cup, the Premier League and the Champions League is not a treble. The press will call it that. They'll love to call it that because it's Pep, isn't it? And it's Man City and they love them. But it's not. It's not. You've got to win the FA Cup for it to be a proper treble. Can they win the Champions League? Yeah, they can. I think the Champions League is the best one it's been in a long time. Much will depend on how good Bayern Munich are. I've not really watched them, as I said. We'll be doing a watch along of them in the quarterfinals, hopefully. Barcelona, Real Madrid, I still think Real Madrid, but Real Madrid aren't through yet. That PSG game could be difficult, and also I think this Champions League is going to be a bit like the FA Cup in England, whereas you could more or less predict that the best team's going to win the Champions League. I think this year it's going to be more and more about what your draw is, because if Real Madrid or Barcelona pull out each other in the quarterfinals, that gets rid of one of them. If Man City get Roma or Shakhtar the next, then that puts them through to the semi-finals. Obviously, Man City had a very good draw in the knockout stages against Basel, as did Liverpool. So it's all about who you get in the quarterfinals, really, and I think it could be a real slog for the winner if they do, you know, like say Real Madrid, they get past PSG. Then they get Man City or Bayern Munich or Barcelona. Then that's a tough time. Then in the semi-finals, they get one of those, you know, and it's a long, long road. But Man City have got a good chance in the Champions League. I wouldn't say that they're favourites, but they've got a good chance. I suppose that would be disappointing for a lot of people, myself included, if they did it. But as I said, I think Liverpool and Spurs, not Liverpool so much in the Champions League. I'd be very surprised if they won it. But Spurs, if they can keep everybody fit, they're a good side. They're a good side. This City side can defeat Madrid, says Pratic. Ronaldo is turning up in the second half of the season again, says James Alori. Look, I had Real Madrid down to win this Champions League a long time ago, and they did finish very strongly last year as well. And they've got the best midfield three in the world. Neymar is out of the game against Real Madrid. PSG are done, and Emre is getting the sack, says James. I wasn't aware of that Neymar was out. And United will be playing in Europa next season. Mark my words, says Sergey. Chelsea will be 4th, Spurs 3rd, and Pool 2nd. I think United would have to drop terribly for that to happen now. And let's not forget, United have got Liverpool in a couple of weeks, which I know it's a long way off, and I know a lot of people would laugh about it, but I just think, you know what? It's a bit like with 40 minutes to go yesterday, and people were saying, let's take a draw against Chelsea. It's Old Trafford in front of 75,000 people. We're Manchester United. Let's not take a draw. Let's go and win it. And I think it might not be pretty, but I still think United could grind out a win against Liverpool as well, and that would pretty much put them in the top 4. Zakif says you may as well support Spurs. Look, that's football is about, you know, obviously I do the United stand, but that's football is about general football. And I watch a lot of football, and I've been very impressed by Spurs this year. I'm very far from a Spurs fan. I'm very far from any supporter of any club. If there's any club I like other than Manchester United, it's probably Juventus, and that's pretty much where it ends. But I am a big fan of football. I want to talk about the bottom of the league as well, though. West Brom losing again, didn't they? I think. Let's just have a double check of that. I don't want to get my scores wrong, but I presume West Brom did lose to Huddersfield. They did. Watford beating Everton, good result for them. Burnley and Southampton drawing. Brighton destroying Swansea after a good run of results for Swansea. And Bournemouth and Newcastle drawing, as well as Leicester and Stoke. So realistically, the big winners were Huddersfield, obviously. West Brom 7 points adrift of safety. Crystal Palace pulled back into it now. I think Palace will stay up. They're on 27, but the bottom three at the moment, 20 points for West Brom, 26 for Stoke, 27 for Swansea, who are joint third from bottom with Crystal Palace and Southampton now in there. Newcastle 29 points, 2 points clear. Huddersfield, West Ham 3 points clear. Brighton, good win for them, 4 points clear, and then Bournemouth, Watford. Yeah, you could get pulled in. I think until you get to 40 points, you can get pulled in. But it's not looking very good for West Bromwich Albion at all. And you've got to question the appointment of Pardew, haven't you? Is Alan Pardew ever a manager that you put in a relegation fight? Not really. I mean, I've got nothing against Pardew, but I think poor appointment, really. And Pulis would have kept them up, definitely. But, you know, these are the ways. So it's very interesting. It's not very interesting in relation to the title, but it's very interesting in relation to who's going to go down in the top four. But I do feel that United, Chelsea, and well, not Chelsea, sorry, United, Liverpool, and Spurs will make up the top four with City, and Chelsea and Arsenal obviously not in it. Arsenal, AC Milan in the Europa League. I think we might do a watch along for that. Tough. So I mean, a lot of people saying Arsenal definitely going to go out to AC Milan. I've got a funny feeling Arsenal will win that. It's going to be very hard for Arsenal to win that Europa League. I mean, you've got to be good to win the Europa League, and Arsenal just aren't good enough at the moment. But I think they might get through AC Milan because the comparison between Serie A and Premier League, I think the Premier League's stronger this year, and that's been proved by what Spurs did to Juventus, what City have done to Napoli. So AC Milan, Arsenal is probably it's probably a fair match of what both teams are having domestically. Their seasons are going. So I think Arsenal might come out on top on that one. Remember to subscribe to That's Football if you are new. We're getting close to 23,000 subscribers now. The aim of the game is to put up some daily content for you on here. So today we've been live at midday, and we'll be looking to do that again for you tomorrow. I don't think we're going to have a watch along this week. Not really in the mood to do Arsenal Man City on Thursday in a Premier League game that actually doesn't mean much, but doesn't mean we won't do it. We'll listen to you and see what you've got to say. But thanks everybody for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. I'm going to be live on the United Stand at 1 o'clock as well with the tactics analysis. But thanks everyone. Remember to subscribe to That's Football. Drop us a like. Get your comments in below, and we'll be back on here tomorrow. Thanks for watching.